Shalom. Oh, sorry, go ahead. I didn't see you. I couldn't figure out where you were going.
No problem.
Go on.
This was your request.
My requests vanish often. Sometimes the living well is our own tears, whether for the composer, singer of that song, or for the hundreds, thousands, dead, maimed, wounded. Shalom.
Shalom.
Salam.
Salam.
Peace.
Peace.
The last year and a half or so, I've been saying all three of those words wherever I get to talk. Even if it looks like it's only Jews in the room, or I've had the honor of being invited several times in the last year or so to speak where it would seem as if there are only Muslims in the room, or where there are only Christians in the room. And I say all three words to remind us that it is not true that there are only Jews or only Christians or only Muslims in any room. On this planet, we are too close together. The world is too small for us not to be aware that for destruction or for celebration, we are all in the room together. And I hope we can carry that wherever we are. So what I want to do is talk about the several world crises that we're in. And I want to talk about some first maybe clumsy attempts at a theology of this crisis. And I also want to talk about some tachlis that we as rabbis and our communities and as our collective rabbinate in Ohalah might do. So first of all, just the name, as I see it, the world crises we are in. There's the ecological crisis, in which not only the human race is in danger, but the whole web of life as we have known it for 65 million years on the planet, longer than the human race has existed. There's the economic crisis, which is teetering on the edge of not just a bad recession, but as Paul Krugman, Nobel economist, columnist in the New York Times said just a couple of days ago, teetering on the edge of Great Depression 2. The last one, remember, led not only to FDR, but to Hitler. And the third one is the danger which we are either on the precipice of or over the edge already of a war between Islam and what we call the West, in which there are people on both sides of that divide who are aching, itching for it to become even more all-encompassing a war than it is now. So I want to look at each of those three. First, the ecological crisis, which at least we have begun in the last 20 years to get a sense of. The economic crisis has like hit us upside the head like a 2x4 without our expecting it. Though people who took seriously the both Kabbalistic and Torah-based sense of the need for the constant recycling of wealth, whether it's the Shemitah, the Yovel, or it's the Kabbalists creating Tu B'Shvat on a day that was the tax day of giving tithes, right? No accident, it seems to me, in which they said that there has to be a constant blessing, a brachaing of the abundance of the shefa, or else it gets stuck like a blood clot that gets stuck and the flow halts and you die. So that one, so let me look first at the ecological one because it's the biggest one. What could we be doing? Okay, there's been a lot of talk and some action about greening synagogues in the sense of the direct hands-on stuff of the light bulbs, the furnace. I look forward to the day when the person being invited as a guest to come look at our beautiful Aron Kodesh is also taken out of the basement and let me show you our extraordinary kosher furnace. So we all know that, and many of us have begun at least to act on it. We have begun at least to use the symbolic structures and metaphors of our tradition in order to address this. Tu B'Shvat and Sukkot and Pesach perhaps, and even Hanukkah, the festival I asked myself more or less idly about 2.5 years ago, gee, I wish there were really a Jewish festival about conserving oil. And then, and then when I began to look into it, discovering the green menorah, the menorah that really is a tree, and that in all his absolute chutzpah, Zechariah dares to say not only are there 2 olive trees next to the menorah when we build a new temple, but those olive trees are going to be giving olive oil straight to the menorah. Like the menorah is indeed a cyborg, a cybernetic organism, not just humanly made, but beyond. So we've begun to develop the symbols for doing that, but we need to do more. We need to do more with those symbols. We need to do more with the life passages of our lives. The Shalom Center did, and here I need to tell you a little wistfully. The Shalom Center created a curriculum and a ceremony drawing on the very last passage of Malachi. God, will send you Elijah the prophet to turn the hearts of the parents to the children, and the hearts of the children to the parents, lest the earth be utterly destroyed. We put it on Shabbat Hagadol, but never did anything beyond that with it. We've developed a ceremony and a curriculum for bar mitzvah and confirmation kids and their parents, the families, to turn the hearts of the two generations to each other, lest the earth be utterly destroyed. Last Ohalah, I brought photocopied pre-version of that, the third or fourth draft of it, here, and gave it out free, and asked people to write me with suggestions and corrections and revisions and their own involvements. And I got, out of this body, got 2. So tonight in the Shuk, we have 1 copy, and we invite you to buy it for $19.95. It can get sold to you. So sent to you from, I couldn't love them all, from, I hope all, from Philadelphia, right? And the Shalom Center is now the 40th anniversary. You mentioned the Freedom Seder. This spring is the 40th anniversary of the Freedom Seder. And we are in the midst now of creating a new Seder for the earth, drawing on the heart of the Seder of the plagues. They were all ecological disasters. And we are going to be looking at what the 10 plagues of our own generation are, that pharaohs are bringing upon us. Not a single individual pharaoh, institutional pharaohs, big oil, big coal, big auto, big other things bringing upon us. And we're going to be developing 10 blessings as well, 10 healings as well. What are we going to do to deal with those 10 plagues? So those are things you can do. And there are other things I jotted down here, which I'm going to have a few copies, but only a few of. Specific Takla stuff. Vigils. All right. I'm going to leave those for later. Maybe in the breakout section we can discuss them. But I want to name one. For sessions like this where people have to take air travel, the most destructive kind of travel there is, even more than automobiles, maybe we should begin looking at several alternatives. One, most radical and maybe most painful, would be teleconferencing. Another might be trying to gather people in the cities where there are a bunch of us and come together on buses. More efficient than all our taking the plane. More efficient, less poisonous to the planet. So those are things Ohalah might, and Aleph, with its Kala, might already begin to pursue. The second crisis, the economic one, some tachlis possibilities. We may, a year from now, or 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, many of us may be in very serious financial difficulty. Some of us may be already. Our communities may be as well. And there's political things we can do, like demanding that the fullness of the economic recovery program be put forth. But there are also things we could be doing. We could be setting up, if we don't have them, Hebrew free loan societies, like our grandparents did because they were poor. We could be creating, as some congregations have, which have the land to do it, I've heard it called the Paya Project, the Corners of the Field Project, creating organic vegetable gardens. And if you don't have a congregation that has that kind of land, then maybe a family or several families in the congregation can share the food that grows from them. We could set up barter arrangements, babysitting co-ops, and all sorts of other possibilities of bartering where we're out of money, where we can discover how to share. Okay, the third crisis, the crisis of a world Muslim versus West war, of which the Israel-Palestinian, Israel-Arab case is one that is a special case that tugs deeply at our hearts as Jews. As Americans, we've already suffered and created suffering in that war as well. Suffered 3,000 deaths at the Twin Towers, created a lot more than 3,000 deaths in Iraq and Afghanistan. What can we be doing about that? So our Chaver, Michael Lerner, has in fact developed with Tikkun and the network of spiritual progressives a statement with a lot of detail, maybe more than I would have liked, but it's a lot of good detail, which he is hoping to be able to publish in the New York Times. And I think he's brought some copies at least that we might look at. I got up this morning to discover on my computer an amazing statement that had been published by the Jews, Christians, and Muslims of Boston, who must have spent the last 2 weeks working on it. They did it specifically as Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Art Green, Gordis, the former president emeritus of Boston College, and a bunch of other folks we know and love are signers, along with many leaders of the Muslim and Christian community. And I spent the 2 hours of my davening this morning, sending that out around the country. I'm hoping that tonight Ohalah can look at that and I hope perhaps endorse and encourage and publicize that. I want to say a tiny bit more. That's the theology part. Why are we in this mess? Okay, I said 15, so let me just give myself one more minute. Why are we in this mess? Why the crises? I have been thinking of God as a dance between control and community, or I, it, and I, thou, or the in-breath and the out-breath. Both are part. Even the I, it is an aspect of God. Where we are in our lives is that we, the human race, has gotten stuck on the control, I, it piece of the dance. And the result of that is Pharaoh in all Pharaoh's forms. That's what happens when you get stuck on the dance as if there were only one step in it, control of the earth, of each other. And that brings about what Bert was talking about, the centralization of power. And with it comes torture. There's no way to avoid it. If you're going to be an empire, you torture people. If you're going to be an empire, you invade people's privacy. You can't help it if you're going to be an empire. If you're going to be Pharaoh, that's what you do. The question we are facing, and Zalman's new paradigm, it's not just about our deciding, sucking our thumb and deciding there should be a new paradigm of Judaism. It's because the human race and the planet are in a new paradigm of life. And there has to be a new Jewish paradigm, or we're done and ought to be done, unless there is a new Jewish paradigm to deal with that new paradigm of the planet and of the human race. And that means new forms of community. It means deciding that the proportion of CO2 in this atmosphere is part of the community. That's totally ridiculous. How can CO2 be part of the community? How can oxygen be part of the community?